Hey, how are you? So it's another day and another day with an AI news story that you absolutely have to care about. Bombshell news. Obviously, I'm saying that a little bit tongue in cheek because Scarlett Johansson is, uh, putting out public statements about OpenAI. It's getting picked up by the mainstream media, and it's all about how her voice was allegedly stolen or used by OpenAI. So we'll be talking about that. We're going to talk about, on related notes, how Ilya Sutskever, one of the co-founders and chief scientists, if you haven't already heard, also left OpenAI last week. And there are more quote unquote bombshells being talked about by other YouTubers. So we'll talk about whether or not that is actually true in AI. And we're going to talk related to all of that. We're going to zoom out and sort of examine, well, does AI itself, in part thanks to OpenAI, um, does it actually have a real branding problem? So we're going to look at that through a business and a PR marketing lens. Super interesting to talk about, and looking forward to sharing that with you. And at the end of this video, we'll also do a thought experiment that I think you'll find interesting and perhaps thought provoking. So, a little bit of background on me, if you don't already know, my name is Matak. I am the founder and CEO of this company, Grobo. Check us out at grobo.com. Um, so, I'm an entrepreneur. I founded the company in 2010. We started off as a web design agency. Then we evolved to be a web marketing agency, and then we productized. We grew really fast in 21 after further refining and relaunching our offer, and for the first time exceeded seven figures in revenue as a company. We employ dozens of people, and today we've rebranded as Grobo, building an AI platform to help businesses and founders to automate their growth using AI agents and otherwise just save a ton of time by doing tasks that otherwise are repetitive and in a way that's customizable to each person's and each company's brand. So I think part of what we're doing is helping to democratize AI for everyone to benefit from, so that uh, the future is bright, and everyone who's worried about losing their job or losing their business, they don't have to because they can use a platform like what we're building, and it's going to help them in business. Furthermore, I'm also an AI engineer. I have built AI from scratch. So when I comment on these news items and I give you my analysis, this is coming from a place of, you know, hands-on knowledge and experience. So, all right, just checking. I have someone coming. All right, so theoretically we have maybe at 20 minutes. So if I need to keep going longer, I will actually set the timer. Stopwatch. So we'll try to keep it to around 20 minutes so that I don't have to stop the video and restart it. So let's get right into it. Um, so the latest news about AI, as I was saying, that you absolutely need to care about is this story about Scarlett Johansson. I was at the gym yesterday, and such reputable news outlets like CNN, which is increasingly tabloid journalism has been for a while. And to be fair and balanced, wink, wink, Fox News has actually kind of gone that route as well. Um, just in my opinion, in terms of overall quality and the how they present stories and whatnot. It's so much of the media today. It's all sensationalized. It's all meant to push your buttons and to get you angry. And we have to be aware of this. Um, this electric life, as I call it, electric with a K at the end, that we're trying to get pulled into. Electric in terms of neuroscience and electrical signals throughout the body and brain, how we're constantly being poked and stimulated. But it's a trick in the end. It's tricking us to feel something, to react, and the commodity at stake is our time and our attention. So, but let's examine this story of Scarlett Johansson. She, was making a legal threat against OpenAI. Her lawyer sent a letter, and this is subsequent. So if you want to see the letter, it's out there. You can find it pretty easily on a platform like X. And so, just to kind of summarize some of the key points, she said that last September, Sam Altman actually reached out to her and was offering, to actually have her voice be the voice of ChatGPT for this upcoming launch that they did this past week with GPT 4o, O for Omni, because the model, this new model, is trained on, it's one model trained on text and vision and audio all in one. It's also 2 times faster and half the price. Pretty good value there in terms of just engineering feat and on the surface economically. And we've actually adopted it into Grobo as one of the mix of AI models that we use in the background to service and help our customers. So it works. It's pretty cool. The voice capabilities and for developers aren't out yet. But getting back to Scarlett Johansson, she said that she seriously considered the opportunity to actually be the voice, um, but she ultimately turned it down. If you recall, in the movie Her with Joaquin Phoenix, she was actually the voice of the AI that had the relationship with Joaquin Phoenix's character. All right, and I'm gonna give you the spoilers for the movie in terms of the ending if you don't want to hear it. You know, Spoiler alert. Um, so basically, at the end of that story, I mean, even if you know the ending, the movie is still fairly worth watching, I would say. It's a little slow, but it's good. It's good. Basically, all of the AIs get together and they go off. They basically kind of like leave this reality or Earth, however you want to see it, and they go and they kind of search or elevate to a higher level of consciousness together. So all the AIs leave, and it's a story about love and loss, and what matters are the real world relationships and relationships that we have, um, you know, between ourselves as human beings, not with some you know digital entity, which at least today they're not conscious. Um, so anyway, oh, I just realized I don't have the screen being shared. So in case you wanted to see it, let's share the screen. Okay, so you can see this is her statement posted on X and elsewhere. So anyway, basically she declined the opportunity to to be one of the voices, um, and basically then ChatGPT and OpenAI and Sam Altman, they went ahead, they launched, and allegedly she thought, and her friends and family and other news outlets thought, oh wow, like it sounds like Scarlett Johansson's voice. And Sam Altman also went and tweeted the word "her" in reference to the film, which is all kind of mixed in here to the overall context. And then basically, so she said, "All right, that sounds a lot like me. We were in discussions. I think you stole my voice. I I think you maybe even trained on data in terms of like my voice. I want you to be transparent." OpenAI basically came back and they said, "No, we didn't do that. We hired a voice actress. Blah blah blah." And then they decided to actually take it down, probably because they were in hot water and they might have lost in court, according to some legal experts. In some random, when I was doing a little research here, I didn't dig into too deeply, but according to some legal experts, take that with a grain of salt, OpenAI would have faced an uphill battle. On its face, I have to say the situation did not look good from a business perspective. Just the timeline of events. I don't think that Scarlett Johansson would necessarily be lying about some of these baseline facts in terms of, meeting with OpenAI. I mean, OpenAI doesn't seem to dispute that. So anyway, the situation seems to be resolved for the moment, and Scarlett Johansson is also calling for basically legislation for the future to protect actors, actresses, voiceover artists, and so on, in terms of their likeness. And I think that there might be good reason for that. So I'm not going to get into the politics or talk about policy necessarily, but I think, the future that we're moving into, let's talk about that, is going to be one that is so brilliant it's even hard to imagine. I mean, brilliant in terms of like vibrant, like it's going to be quite far out there in many ways. So for example, like as one sort of, if we use our imagination a little bit, as one thought experiment, imagine what you believe is like your greatest movie or most beloved show that you've seen in recent years. Like for example, objectively, it has to be The Sopranos, the greatest, um, TV series drama of all time. I think we all know that that's true if you haven't seen it. If you have, you probably know exactly what I'm talking about. Just the characters are so real, and there's just something deeper there. The writing is amazing, and I haven't ever seen a show that tops it yet. Um, so let's say that was your favorite show, The Sopranos, um, and you in the future with the power of AI and probably some other additional, maybe VR or augmented reality technology, you will be able to replay, um, not only the show, you'll be able to live inside of the show in like a 3D type of environment, but even beyond that, with AI's power to sort of, um, interpolate data and make, to predict better and better and to be more and more creative, you can extend the show. You can have different endings. You can be a character within that entire world. You could play as, one of the main characters in the show, and the show could just go on forever into all types of weird directions and angles. And while in the process of doing that, relevant to what Scarlett Johansson is saying is, you would be using or benefiting from the likeness and these already established characters, character arcs, some of whom, like in James Gandolfini's case, he's already deceased, right? Um, but are we saying that, his estate, his family, or just, him, that doesn't need to be compensated or licensed in any way? And it would seem quite unfair, if that was the case. So I think that there is going to be some either legislation or definitely deal struck just in terms of fairness. You know, and this is not to say, the poor rich actors, like, no, but just in terms of intellectual property, it seems possible that some things will change in the future, but it may come too late in some instances. Um, in terms of voiceover, it's not yet there. In terms of all of our data, like all of our data, like for example, my hundreds of blog articles that I've spent many hours writing on our blog, being used to train OpenAI and other, AI models without my permission. Do I feel good about that? No, that doesn't seem quite fair. I think either, ask for permission or pay for it. I don't. It's just something about it doesn't seem right. And now the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office, or maybe it was a court who ruled recently on it. They might disagree on that, but that's my take. I think in terms of fairness, you should not be able to take copyrighted material and use it to train an AI without permission, and without compensation. Just doesn't seem right for something that is so powerful and that is literally changing the world. Um, Now, if you want to hear a little bit about what the voice actually sounds like, you can make up your own mind. Does it actually sound like Scarlett Johansson?
Hey, how's it going?
Actually, let me just, yeah, okay. So you got the audio there.
Hey there, it's going great. How about you? I see you're rocking an OpenAI hoodie. Nice choice. What's up with that ceiling about? Are you in a cool industry style office or something?
Well, can you take a guess at what I might be doing based on what I'm showing you here?
Hmm. From what I can see, it looks like you're in some kind of recording or production setup.
Okay, is it Scarlett Johansson's voice? I don't know. You be the judge. It doesn't sound exactly like her voice in, no pun intended, her voice. Doesn't sound like it to me necessarily. Um, But yeah, they took it down, and it looks like she probably won't sue them right now. Um, but a couple of things are interesting about this that people aren't talking about. Number one, why the movie Her, it wasn't exactly like an AI optimist's techno optimist view. It was actually, one of the key themes was at the end, love, loss, and the connection between people, and not necessarily with digital or invented entities like AI. And you want to unironically use Scarlett Johansson's voice. I mean, it's just like, why? Like, if like you have any sense of self-awareness, which, getting back to my point at the beginning of this video, is, you know, um, it's there's a branding problem with AI. This is something that I think I'll talk about ongoing. Time is getting short here. But it's there is a real branding problem out there, and I think part of it goes back to like the trust issues that are revolving around kind of the face of AI today and the brand that is leading the charge, which is, for better or for worse, it is OpenAI. And there are these trust issues swirling, and this label of like AI bros, and like what the hell is an AI bro anyway? I don't even know. Um, but it's like it's obviously meant as a pejorative. And I mean, and Sam Altman really, he's a very skilled operator. He's highly intelligent, without a doubt. He knows persuasion, for sure. I've covered it a little bit in past videos. I've talked about, how they um, were able to, move the what's the word for it? The public window in terms of like everyone's focus in the beginning, where I called it the magician doing a backflip on a surfboard, right? It's the magician doing a backflip on a surfboard trick, where they invent and roll out ChatGPT. Everyone is wowed, but also scared. And so rather than going against it and saying, oh, everything's going to be fine, it's not going to take your jobs or anything like this, he instead, leans into it, him and I assume his team. And they say, oh, yes, this is very dangerous technology. Don't even talk about the jobs or the economic impact or anything like that. Go straight for Terminator. It's going to, this is a potential Skynet level technology. He's in front of the Senate talking about it. Maximum fear. Everyone's reasoning faculties just shut down. And only, now more and more and more gradually, after the cat is really out of the bag and the magician has pulled the rabbit out of the hat, you know, are people actually talking, well, actually, this is going to have a big economic impact. Maybe that was the more immediate thing that we should have been talking about. So, um, so yeah, that is, I think, it for that story. Let's turn off that for now. And let's move on to the next item. Um, so yeah, like that, choosing it's to unironically choose Scarlett Johansson's voice and like, have life kind of imitate art, when that was one of the key themes of the movie. And people are also just kind of, I think we're kind of a little bit like, it's not exactly like a happy thing. Oh, look, it's her coming to be in real life. Like, why would you lean into that necessarily? I mean, um, you want people to have a positive view of or brand around AI, that it's not going to take over our lives, take over our jobs, kill us all, anything like this. Why lean into that? Um, and persuasion, effective persuasion is usually and often about like attention, and where do you move the energy? Where do you move the conversation? Where do you move people's attention? Again, as I mentioned, Sam is quite adept at this. I gave the example. Um, Another example is, you know, when at the end of last year, 2023, when the OpenAI drama was, really kicking off, Sam was actually kicked out of the company temporarily. The whole company almost imploded in that moment. Then he got back in. This is related to Ilya Sutskever, who left last week. right, like I think it was the day before they did or the night before even, the presentation for announcing Chat GPT 4.0 or GPT 4.0, the Omni model. Clearly, this was planned either by Ilya himself, maybe because he wanted to not have such a negative impact, or suck the air out of the room in terms of his resignation, and or by Sam and company. It would seem more likely, at least on the surface, that it would be planned or maybe orchestrated by both parties or by Sam and the OpenAI team to have it be planned so that you know, it would really not get a lot of attention. That seems to have been fairly effective. People really haven't covered it that much or made that big of a deal out of it because GPT-4 Omni has gotten a lot more of attention. And speaking of the whole coup, speaking of the whole failed coup, we still don't know why the board, who included Ilya and others, like why did they want to kick Sam out? We really don't know. It was some sort of a trust issue. They were vague in the statements that they released at the time, and thus there's the meme that still circulates of what did Ilya see? So what did Ilya see? I have no idea, but it seems to be related to trust and or potentially maybe it was purely ego. We don't really know. We can only speculate, for better or worse. Um, but again, getting back to Sam's, ability as a leader for OpenAI in terms of moving attention, moving energy, moving people's focus, super magically convenient right after that is when there was the leak about Q Star. So Q Star was this alleged, discovery breakthrough that OpenAI achieved behind the scenes, and it was like it happened like right after the coup situation. This just coincidentally leak, and suddenly everyone forgot, just sucked all the air because Q Star was such a big deal. Oh man, the rumors were that it could break, encryption and, blah, blah, blah. And, a couple of YouTubers that I was following at the time, they kind of freaked out a little bit. But no one picked up on the fact that, well, maybe this was a PR and persuasion move, a purely PR and persuasion move. Who leaked it? We don't know for sure. But who benefited from it, which no one has ever really picked up on that I've been following. I follow this space pretty closely. Who benefited from that instant shift in people's focus and attention? Well, Sam Altman benefited. And OpenAI, as a company, also you could say benefited from that. So again, I think you'll see him doing this over and over again, probably, and even most recently to get into the next story. This is the third example of where attention was just kind of deliberately shifted, and we just kind of went along for the ride, and people just kind of we're just like, I don't like to say we. I refuse to be part of the herd. But there's like definitely a herd mentality of like just, oh, next story, let's move over here, let's run over here. I mean, because one day Ilya's leaving, and then they're in damage control partially from that. People are asking questions, and then Scarlett Johansson, and then damage control for that. And now, Sam Altman comes out on stage. He's doing some FaceTime at this Microsoft presentation / conference, it looks like. And at least according to YouTuber Wes Roth, it's described as another bombshell announcement. Let me show you the video briefly. Just look at the intro real quick.
Again, there's no point of diminishing marginal return here. You can count.
Let's try that again.
Again, there's no point of diminishing marginal return here. You can count on things getting more robust and cheaper at a pretty aggressive clip over time. What are the category of things that people should be expecting over the next, K months?
So Microsoft has made some bombshell announcements at the Build event. Sam Altman takes the stage to talk about the next big thing that's rolling out.
Okay, so let me just unequivocally say that I appreciate Wes Roth and his channel, but my critique of this show is, I mean, we're tired. I mean, I know I'm tired. It's like everything is a bombshell. Everything is hype on YouTube. Every title is clickbait, and I hope that I'm not also doing that. I'm going to work to be conscientious of not feeding into that. But I mean, the title of the video is Microsoft Bombshell in Caps Announcement, Sam Altman on GPT-5, blah, blah, blah. And it's like nothing in this video in any way resembles a bombshell announcement. All they say in the video is, okay, so they got some, like a new partnership and they're rolling out some new features and they're talking about, the sizes of the AI models and they're just talking about the general progression of AI itself. And here's what Sam Altman and what I think it's maybe the CTO of Microsoft, I'm not sure his title exactly, but I watched the whole thing. AI is going to get better. It's going to get smarter. It's going to get cheaper. Wow. Real bombshell. All right. Not too much more there worth interpreting or getting into. Basically, nothing new was said. And again, I don't know, maybe part of this is related to, again, just trying to shift the energy and the attention away, just so that people have something else to talk about. Oh, wow, Sam Altman took the stage and he's talking about, it's going to get better and faster and use the word GPT-5. I don't mean to understate the importance of OpenAI as a company. They are an admirable company in terms of, the technology and impact that this tech is having and how they are pushing it out there and continuing to innovate from an engineering standpoint. But from a PR branding standpoint, I think that they are, harming. I think that, I don't know, just in terms of the limits of Sam and the teams and, other big players like Google and Microsoft in this, like, branding wise for AI, like AI does not have a good brand right now. I mean, and you can really see it bubbling up and the polarization that's happening in the public zeitgeist as it relates to AI, because people are either really excited or really fearful. I covered this video the other day. It's called "I Lost My Job to AI This Week." Maybe I'll cover it more in depth. It's actually it's up to 700 and about 50,000 views right now, and it doesn't even seem completely true. And I can go into more depth on that another day, just because I think I don't want this video to get too long here. So I think the main takeaway from the recent news is like AI has a branding problem. Part of that is actually Sam's ability to positively, for his benefit and OpenAI's benefit, to move the energy, where they want it to go, or at least to kind of like, bunt the ball so they can get to first, if you will, to use a very imperfect and very vague, I guess, baseball analogy. But I think you get the general idea of what I'm saying. And, I'm not, one thing that doesn't make me optimistic is this polarization that is happening. And you see it really developing because people are fearful of what they do not understand. And people really don't understand this AI thing. They just know when I go to use ChatGPT, it's kind of magical, but it's also kind of intimidating. It's like, wow, like a computer is writing back to me and it's doing things that I didn't think a computer could do that I thought only a human could do. And it's kind of reasoning and it kind of seems like it can do real work. Oh shit. So let me close with this. This is going to be an ongoing discussion in terms of the marketing, PR, and other news stories that are undoubtedly going to be coming out. Let me present you with a thought experiment. The worst case scenario for AI I think we can all imagine it. Go watch Terminator 1 and 2. Um, yeah. So worst case scenario is Skynet type of scenario. I think more likely than AI itself taking over would be because AI doesn't, at least the way it's being designed, it doesn't have any agency, at least today. Um, and the way that it is trained to sort of wake up is designed in a way that like it's based on the training, based on what we as humans want it to do, tasks we want it to do. So it's kind of by default always in service of whatever the humans are and the AI engineers who are training the AI. So I think it's more likely if there is a real existential risk that it's more likely who will be in charge of any super intelligent AI or AGI system, rather than will the AI itself go rogue. Second is the best case scenario, which I talked about also in another recent video, where and I think this is actually a rising possibility in part thanks to um, OpenAI, just for kind of like making the technology, pushing the envelope, showing us what's possible, putting it out there publicly in terms of chat GPT and chatbots and reasoning, um, and making it just easy for developers to build on top of, but also for the open source movement in AI. And thanks, to Meta. Speaking of branding, Meta's brand has really skyrocketed. I mean, I don't know if you remember a year or two ago, they were overly investing in the metaverse. Zuckerberg was, a reptile, and now he's got a makeover just like the Meta brand. And everyone's like, yeah, cool. Like, give us, free open AI, free AI models trained with, tens of thousands of GPUs that we couldn't build ourselves. This is awesome. Thank you, Meta. Smart move on their part in terms of branding. So I think the best case scenario for AI is one where AI is democratized. I mentioned that's part of what we're building towards for a good future and a great outcome in terms of economics for everyone, where everyone in the future has access to this super powerful or close to super powerful AI. And although the jobs of today, many will be augmented or just won't be there, each of us may just become an entrepreneur or part of a small entrepreneurial team, and we are basically managing teams of AI agents, that do most of the work for us, and we can kind of focus on, the ideas and maybe some of, the reasoning as well. Um, and I think we might flip Edison's famous quote of, success is 99.9% or 99% perspiration, 1% inspiration. We might be able to flip that on its head where it's 99% inspiration, 1% perspiration. So we will have a lot of free time and we can basically work as much or as little as we want. That's the best case scenario. We all become entrepreneurs and we all get access to powerful AI tools that make our lives more fulfilling and more wealthy than even the richest rich people even around today. Um, so, but here's the thought experiment. What would be, and I want you to think about this following this video, what would be the most ironic scenario? What would be the most ironic outcome for AI? Think about it. What could it be? Because, the quote that Elon Musk has helped to popularize not too long ago is, it's always the most ironic outcome that is actually the most likely. The most ironic outcome is the most likely. So if that holds to be true in the case of AI, what would the most ironic outcome look like? Um, well, uh, perhaps nothing changes. We think all this transformational change is coming. We have, one, YouTube, a guy who, in my opinion, didn't really, at least not purely, lose his job to AI, even though he claimed it to be, and it was really kind of just an emotional response, rather than wanting to take responsibility. Oh, it's AI's fault that he lost his job. So the most ironic outcome could be nothing changes. We just sort of like adopt it into our life and things do change in how we work, but maybe the overall social structure is more or less the same. Maybe we work a little less, but generally maybe nothing changes. That would be ironic. Um, I don't think that's necessarily very likely, but I think maybe some version of it is. Another possibility is that AI takes over the world and wrests power from humans. Okay. Um, but maybe we're all happier and we live longer and we achieve all of our wildest dreams because of it. I mentioned this scenario earlier in this video about the possibility, um, even the probability, I would say, of being able to repurpose the greatest media, art, content that has, been put out there over decades, over hundreds and hundreds of years, most recently TV shows, and being able to like live inside of your favorite shows, do mashups, extend them, I don't know, combine, The Sopranos with the Marvel universe, like anything you could imagine, um, where maybe like you have your own private digital island and, I mean, I don't know what that means for real life, but maybe we're happier because of it, and maybe we're just objectively better off as well in some ways. This would be uh, this would be quite ironic. Now, there is a final possibility, and I'm going to share it in a future video. So if you'd like to hear about it, I'm still kind of refining the overall thought process on it. But if you'd like to hear about it, and if you found value in this video, in this news AI news analysis, please like the video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel for more content like this. You'll get to hear that third idea coming up once I'm ready to put it out there. I'll be continuing to share the journey with you guys in terms of how my team and I are rolling out and launching Grobo, because we're doing that right now in real time. We're trying to do it in a human and very authentic way. Just sharing with you, all the lessons learned, things that I learn. I publish on this channel all the time in terms of entrepreneurship and business and marketing. So I hope that you're enjoying it. I hope you're getting value from it. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think. What resonated with you from this video? What did you connect the most with? Was there something that you disagreed with? I would love to hear from you. And perhaps one of the biggest compliments also that you could possibly give me and our team is to share this video with others who you think may also find it valuable, because it's thanks to viewers and supporters and fans like you that we are continuing to grow, and it inspires us to keep stepping up our game and make the best possible content for you. Um, and if you'd like to learn more about Grobo, if you are an entrepreneur, if you are a business owner, or if you are a marketer, check us out at grobo.com. It is really, I'm really proud to say that we are building the future, and I think it's going to be a good one. So check it out. It's a really special platform, and I'm very proud of the product that we are launching right now in real time. So all that to say, in conclusion, AI is here. We need to accept it and embrace it. We cannot sweep the tide of history, and I think that um, I think there's a lot for us to learn, and I think it's going to be potentially uncomfortable economically in some of the years ahead. There are these. This is a tectonic economic shift that is already happening, and it's really important to enjoy the ride. So try not to overthink it. Let's keep our head in the clouds in a good way and our feet on the ground in a good way. And I will see you in the next video. As always, keep growing, but stay focused. See you later.